Hello and welcome again to Red Gaming Tech for your daily dose of your latest gaming news. Myself, Marta. Today is still the 1st of May and I have some news for you today from Sony, as they have said today that they expect to report a net loss of 130 billion yen, which is about 753 million pounds or $1.3 billion for the 12 months ending March 31st, 2014. Now, that does compare with a loss of 110 billion yen, which is 637 million pounds or $1.1 billion, which they forecast back in February, which in itself was a reduction from an October 2013 projection of 30 billion profit, and that's yen, of course. That's 174 million pounds or $294 million. So basically they are posting a larger loss than they expected. Now, they won't be reporting their consolidated results for the fiscal year until May the 14th, but they did release a preliminary earnings report today. Now, Sony has forecast a 14% year-on-year increase in sales. It will then be expected to be hit by a expected 30 billion yen, which is 174 million pounds or $294 million of expenses related to exiting the PC business. And they said, quote, "Since Sony's announcement that it will exit the PC business, PC sales for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2014, and expected PC sales for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2015, underperforming the February expectation. Consequently, Sony expects to record write-downs for excess components in inventory and accrual expenses to compensate suppliers for unused components ordered for Sony's spring PC lineup." Now, Sony does also expect to record 25 billion yen, that's 145 million pounds or $244 million in impairment charges due to their overseas disc manufacturing business, which, quote, "primarily due to demand for physical media contracting faster than anticipated." So there you have it. So basically, they're actually going to lose 20 billion more yen than they expected. Now, of course, they did post a loss initially when in their predictions in February, but of course they weren't expecting quite so high a loss. Now, obviously the PS4 is doing really well for them, but the PS4 is probably one of the few areas that's doing well for them. Obviously, they sold off all their Square Enix stock, all their stocks. Obviously, they've exited the PC business, which of course will help them recover funds in the long run, but in the short term it's actually costing them money for all the stuff that they touched on here, paying the suppliers of the components for unused components and just, all the expenses related to exiting that business. Of course, in the long run, they're not going to have to worry about those costs anymore, but for now they're going to have to eat those that hit from exiting the business in the first place. So outside of the PS4 division, Sony is kind of on shaky ground. The PS4 is probably one of the few areas where they're actually doing well. So I don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon, but I'm definitely a little bit concerned for Sony, and I think most people have, well, an understandable concern as well for them. So yeah, hopefully things will improve soon with them shedding all unnecessary divisions and of course selling off their Square stock and all the other things that they've been doing to try and up their profits and all that. Hopefully they'll come into effect soon and we can see some improvement for Sony, who are of course a much beloved company. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time.